Good morning, beautiful warriors of light. For we each are one in our own right. Planetary, tone 10. I'm just touched by the beauty of the what synchronicity or the token in the blue hand wave spell to have the warrior on tone 10. When we want to accomplish something, when we want to heal, when we want to, well, no. But if we want to find out what's standing in the way of our manifestations, whatever the case may be, we need very often that fearless warrior, that archetype of we gotta look places that's uncomfortable. Gotta deal with fear. Very often it's fear at the root of anything that isn't love or hasn't love at the root of itself. When the little seedling, and we're guided by the yellow seed incidentally today, when the little seed pops open, I mean, maybe we don't understand it correctly, but I want to say it's not fear that drives its roots into the ground. It's the love for life. If we want to look materialistically, we may not associate the sprouting of a seed with love. But if we don't, we may well do so. And then I'm reminded of seed sprouting when we eat sprouts. What are we eating? Someone said to me that the sprout, the seed eating seeds, is already eating the seed potential, right? But when you eat the sprout, it's not infinitely, but a lot more nutritious. Why? Because I could say because love has unpacked itself. Because love has opened itself into becoming life. Oh man, I'm not joining the pro or whatever life debate, but you could really throw this one in. People who oppose abortion or maybe even meat eating for moralistic reasons could be told not to eat sprouts. They're eating embryos. Sorry, I'm making a joke of it. Anyway, there are things on this planet we are meant to eat, so they're here to feed us. And that includes animals. Otherwise, there'd be no animals eating other animals. But we should let all animals, should we? I'm speaking in shoulds. Don't listen to me when I speak in shoulds. But I believe it might be a good idea if we let our animals either be free and we hunt what we need to eat. How can we do that with a population of 8 billion? Yeah, well, we don't all want to eat meat. Or we should really, I want to say we should worship our domestic animals because we should really treat them extra well because they are feeding us. The way we treat them, what we put into them in terms of our energy, the kind of life we're giving them, we're eating that. Are we surprised? I mean, there's a lot of reasons the modern world, the first world, the Western world, the second, if there is one, third worlds are heavily infected by the viruses of the first world, make no mistake. Modernity is, oh my goodness, it's quite cancerous, I say so. There's a wonderful, I love this world we've created, it's wonderful. We have done a fantastic job, but we have also just gone off very, very, very far, some paths into something I haven't even got a name for, and it's not beyond redemption. We're not beyond redemption. And I believe we're doing it because a lot of people, especially the younger generations, are looking on at what we're doing and like, you gotta take some responsibility here. We gotta use our collective power. We gotta exert our will. No, exactly not, or maybe yes. That's what I want to say. But there's an army of light workers, and that's a lot of us. And we're not. That's not always. Well, that I don't need to say what it's not, but it is definitely us through our attitude, through our buying power, through our, I'm not sure I believe in voting, but any thought, anything we do, we place our attention on, that is like voting for something. We're placing our attention for what we want. And sometimes we still have to use means that are not in integrity with the world, or eat meat that is not grown in integrity and respect to the animal. That doesn't take away from the fact that we have our eye, our blue eagle focus on healing that planetarily. We want the animals we eat to have a good life. We're prepared to eat less meat. We don't need a lot of meat, but then we want quality. I notice in the supermarket here, the meat section, fresh meat section, and there's not, I don't know about a frozen meat section, but the fresh meat section, it's getting smaller. And yeah, people are buying less meat, and probably rightfully so. And that's all warrior moves. It's not fear-based. We're not changing the world out of fear. And if I don't really like speaking about the manipulative powers out there that are keeping us here or there, or what. There's no really much point to that, but there's a system at work that benefits from like selling the bad news and from keeping people in fear. It's just become established that way, and we are playing along with it until we stop playing along with it. If we engage in said news, if we engage in picking up a point of view of hopelessness and despair, if we allow the happenings on the planet to make us angry or anything like that, we are feeding that wolf, and it's a collective wolf we're feeding. So we may want to really ask ourselves, how do we stay in our own alignment, in our center? The planetary tone, especially for me, when it's in this half of the zodiac, I was about to say, of the Tzolk'in, tones from the eagle to the sun. There isn't a collective development that isn't also parallel and personal, and vice versa. But there's a lot of focus on the collective. The eagle is the guardian of the collective mind. The warrior is, even if the warrior cares only for his own well-being, this is it, the warrior cannot. You're not caring for your well-being out of ego, fear, narcissism, whatever kind of distortion. That's an illusion. But if you're doing it, you're keeping yourself healthy, you're mentally clear, you're keeping your frequencies clear and clean and high, balanced with the low. I don't mean the low, I mean the distorted clear, yeah? Um, you make sure that the water in your body, the crystals that it can form, and the crystalline grid inside your body is clear. It's a healthy grid. It's beautiful. Beauty, a star, yeah? Yellow star. The importance of beauty. When water is crystallizing into these beautiful crystals, when we energize the water with blessings or love or whatever, there's beauty. There's a reason why snowflakes form beautiful crystals. God is an artist. Life is about beauty. Like, it's not by the by, like it's a main, it's a foundation. Harmony, beauty, cooperation. Yeah. So you can, if you take care of yourself, you're automatically radiating your frequency into the collective. You'll automatically be friendlier in the supermarket. You'll automatically be friendlier while you're driving your car. You automatically bless. You become a blessing rather than cursing around while you drive and always all these stupid people everywhere maybe. And which is, what are you adding into the collective when you do that? How much are you hurting yourself when you do that? You choose. It might be much worse if you have that angry energy, let it out already. Don't hold it in. It will do damage in there. Anyhow, so then Earth, mirror, storm, very towards the sun, the very global, whatever. Anyway, my psyche, tone 10 is for me like, what I see is two fives. It's the overtone to the overtone. So whatever foundation was set in tone 5, and when it comes to this wave spell, healing wave spell, monkey, we can really investigate that. Otherwise, with anything else, your inner foundation, if your inner warrior, if your inner light is not in alignment, whatever that, your overtones are gonna be off. You're gonna be, what you just said. So tone 10 is perfect for that. Your manifestation, you're producing the results of yourself or your actions, your thoughts, whatever. Your actions are already a effect. What is the cause? Very often we look at causes. Every cause is an effect. Every effect is already a cause. It is a circle. A lot, it's like the seed is both a cause and an effect. A tree produced a seed, so it created the effect of having produced seeds. And the seed is the cause for the next tree to grow out of itself. So it is with us. And only we can take care of our own frequency, and we have to. We can look at the wave spell of the yellow human. Oh my goodness. Yeah? Yeah. The yellow warrior is sitting on tone 5. You see the bridges or the connections, so important. And then the effect we have in the world, if we want to be a warrior of light in terms of our purpose beyond ourselves, we got to be very, very careful with that in my books, because there are a lot of people out there who are missioning for change, but they're not very well guided. They're not very well in alignment with themselves, therefore they cannot be well guided. And therefore they're trying to fix out there something that's actually needing fixing in there, or realigning. I don't want to talk on fixing. I don't even like to talk healing really so much, because I prefer to look at us as whole. But we do get out of alignment. like the spine, like the vertebra, they can get out of alignment, and then it can be painful, uncomfortable. You go to a spinologist or whatever who can do it, they realign your spine, flum. Really great, really great. So that's tone 10. It's like the double octave of tone 5. And the warrior has the seed as the guide. So we are again reminded, what are we producing? What is what we're producing going to produce? What is what are we sowing going to reap? It's not necessarily, to me, the same as you have to always think about the consequences of everything. That is exactly the opposite of what I said yesterday. Mind not the consequences. Align yourself. But those are two, or there are many different ways of being in the world. I'm not preaching one. I just share what I find, um, whatever perspective, whatever. So sometimes it's like that, and sometimes it's like that. If you wanna, what are our intentions? We are really at loggerheads in the spiritual communities with genetically modified crops that we're eating. I am not personally sure that is necessarily such a problem, but I do not know much about it. If the human says we have to genetically modify this crop so that we can grow more and harvest more, in itself, because we're feeding more, that is the society we have built. We need it that way. I don't know that we personally need to tell our bodies that that's a problem. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Rather than to say, oh my God, we're really appreciating that. On the other hand, if we are prohibiting natural fertilizers made out of whatever natural stuff, because we're forcing, if our governments are doing that, because they are in cahoots with the industry that says, no, we have to sell our highly toxic fertilizers because we have these fertilizer machines that only work with it out of fertilizers. They don't work with this stuff you make out of plants, blah blah. It's all, that's where we really need to look out for what is the collective good, and that's where our inner warrior of light needs to be discerning. We need to be intelligent. The warrior stands for intelligence, fearlessness, questioning. We need to question, is this good or is it not? We need to not always assume, or because someone else says GMOs, whatever, they're necessarily bad for your body. I'm not sure that that's true. We have to discern, where is it true, is it not true? Is it an elegant solution, is it not? And is it an elegant solution for a period in time, and then we should let it go? Do we have people who make a lot of money, they're not prepared to go with the flow of, this has served, but it no longer serves. This is making us ill now because you've taken it too far. You've taken your profit maximization too far. Fair enough, you're trying to give the world food, but your intention is not to feed people with the best quality food. Your intention is to make maximum profit. And you're not even using that maximum profit for the greater good to improve the toxins you're throwing on the food that's giving you that maximum profit. Right now, I'm criticizing that. Those are things we ought to look at. Those are things we ought to correct. Can we go at it by attacking these, I call them monsters, because they're a big machinery. It's like Rage Against the Machine type of thing. You can't. They're powerful, and they will use their power against us. And we're serving no one. We're wasting our energy when we do that. What we can do instead is be in our integrity, be in our intelligence, and then intelligently support where people in their intelligence, in their integrity, are producing for the collective. Nobody on this planet, there are people you can produce for just yourself, but that's really small and almost hard, because any plant produces usually more than what an individual can consume of the thing. So the whole system is set up in such a way that we produce for each other. Then nature brings out so much more than what you can consume compared to what you can harvest, even as an individual, not even as a business that's providing wheat for the bread industry type of thing. And the bread industry, in the name of profit, we're no longer, what is it, leavening our bread? We're not letting it sit, and we're not letting the wheat or whatever needs rest, and then bake the bread 20 hours later. Then our bodies can consume it. We have gluten intolerance because we're no longer allowing that process to happen. Why? Maximizing profit, maximizing convenience for the profiteers, to make the bread so cheap that the whole, then you want to make everything so cheap. Somewhere else you can end up giving people very low salaries because the products are so cheap, and it's such an imbalance. And we do well to see it, to understand it, and to see, okay, how can I buy a more expensive bread that I know is really a good bread. I want to support that. So I buy whatever. Then I buy what? I buy a piece of butter less, or I buy whatever, something less. I can set my priorities and allow the intelligence. I want to switch over now to the musketeers of the warrior. They are the antipode is the white world bridger, and the white world bridger reminds us. The antipode position always reminds us of who we are. It reminds us of the quality we must not forget. In terms, for me, yellow sun, I can be very harsh and very burning and very, if love doesn't temper even my wisdom, forget about when I go into, then I can easily, that spiritual ego, yes, or I cannot have the discernment in place or love to know when should something be given. Seeds can't be made to grow. The sun can't stand there and say, I'm going to shine my light on you until you fucking come out of the ground. I'm going to stop the earth from rotating so that I am going to. No, it dies. So, dog reminds sun of love, loyalty. You're shining on everyone. Your love is for everyone. Our love is for everyone. We can be we can have an owner, we have someone that we love, we have allegiances, destiny, friends, companions of destiny, whatever. Not owners, dogs of, owners. That's even such a concept. Is it, are we owning our dog? But the dog thinks it's owning you. But the cats do anyway, right? But we are, the gifts we bring onto this planet are not just for our friends. Our love is not just for our friends. Our love is for everyone. The sun shines on everyone. A dog wags its tail at everyone. It licks everyone. A normal, a healthy, balanced dog. A scared dog does not, but that's all I'm talking about. So in this case, the world bridger reminds the warrior, let go. Don't keep on hammering the point. You don't need to fight all the time. You need to rest. You need to also you need to let go of your life. When you are fighting, if you are, you can't be, a warrior needs to fight. You need to let go of what you protect in order to be of service. Stuff like that. I mean, there's a ton. This combination, warrior and world bridger, is very, very, very potent. Not that all of them are not potent. It's just today I'm really honing in on it, and I just love it. Activates me a lot. The warrior activates me a lot of energy in the warrior. For me, it was not in my wave spell incidentally, but I just like, oh. And the warrior has to know what it needs to be healthy and functioning, or else it can't go into battle. Don't want to use combative language, but sometimes I suppose it's appropriate. So self-care is really important. The warrior, the analog energy of the warrior, the kin, is the blue night, intuition, dream, abundance. It's so, so important. The warrior, the important thing is for me now, the ability to dream For example, the important thing is the intuition, but the ability to dream. It's not to dream a reality. It's planting seeds. It's growing seeds. It's your manifestation rests on your intention, your imagination, your visualizations. That is the dreaming. That's the dream power. That's blue night, your visualization. Let nothing, don't worry how it's going to come about. Just visualize yourself in the enjoyment of, I love this. And when there's no interference pattern running, you're going to get that. If there's like, I really want this, oh, but I'm afraid of maybe too much responsibility or this, which is something I really am familiar with, the manifestation isn't going to come about. It's going to stay in a very small radius. And that's an experience I make all the time. Oh my God. Oh, Tatiana, please investigate. The warrior, there's the abundance, there's resources, resources, resources. You can't see, you don't have to see the resources. You just need to know, like, what's your, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? You can even forget about the moral code. If you want to be the next oppressive dictator, you're allowed to be that on planet Earth. If you want to be that, you can be that. If you want to be the next billionaire, you don't care about the moral, what you do, how you make your money, you can be that. Be in alignment with yourself, not even going to have bad consequences following you. It doesn't have to create bad karma because you can only invite people to play into that game with you, and people come freely. You're not forcing anyone. But whatever your case may be, whatever my case is, that's the abundance, the intuition, the warrior. You need to know your intuition has to work, and it does work. If the warrior works, whatever working means, without the intuition, he does not. And then in the occult is the red serpent. You work that out for yourself. My image went out. Yeah, we work that out for ourselves, and the serpent. I mean, the life force. Have I spoken a lot about the connection between serpent and warrior? It's an occult connection in both directions, not so obvious, but very, very important, and very spiritual connection. I'm not going there. I should probably never go there because it's a cult, which has also a lot to do with your own discovery of that. Anyhow, I've spoken. I wish us all a beautiful Yellow Warrior Day and a beautiful energy with, not energy with, but we can look at the wave spell of the blue hand and see what are we manifesting, where are we at with what we have manifested, the good and the bad, quote unquote, what the wanted and the unwanted. And if there's a lot of unwanted, we may want to engage the warrior a bit more and actually focus, yellow seed, a little clearer on what we want. And if the focus is only outside, I gotta do and it's gotta be, you gotta do things in the world, but you're not matching the frequency inside you, you're gonna come into struggle. And that's not punishment or anything. It's just life. It's trying to draw your attention to a misalignment. And it's in my books a good idea to look at that. To look at that. But sometimes we need the struggle because that's how we feel ourselves. I mean, warriors also, they are warriors who need to feel the pain. They need to feel the burn. It gives them a sense of aliveness. Red serpent? No? Yeah? It's like when you go to the gym, I mean, or when you're fighting, when you're angry a lot, it makes you feel alive. Warrior energy. You're constantly complaining, it makes you feel alive. In a way, each to their own. All right, I send this off and I wish you us a beautiful day, a beautiful planetary warrior day. Aho!